Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I'm going to do is try to create an app with in Rails, Ruby on Rails, with many-to-many relationships. Okay, so that's going to be sort of the goal of this particular video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open up my terminal, and what I'm going to do is create a new project, Rails new, and we're going to call this investments. And we're going to use the API flag. I'm going to use the Postgres flag. And I am going to use, I think that's good. So that'll generate a new project for me. There it goes. It's doing the thing. There it goes. The project is set up. And let's see here, investments. Here it is. Okay, and then I'm going to cd into investments. Okay, and first thing I want to do is configure the database. So I'm going to head over to config database.yaml, and then I just need to add into default the host, which is localhost, the port, which is 5432, default post for Postgres. The user that I use is test5, and the password is test5 for my development database. Good. Neato. And that's all set. Cool. So now I will create my database. So db rails db create, that creates the database. Okay, give it a second to create the database. There it goes. Coffee. Okay, so we did that. Now we need to create some models. Let me think about how I want to do this. Basically, I want there to be a model, so Rails G scaffold for investor, scaffold scaffold Rails G scaffold investor. Every investor is going to have a name, which is going to be a string. And then, forgetting how to do like sort of the related fields. So let me just do a quick search on that. Take a look at, luckily I write tutorials, so that when I forget something, I can just remind myself. Okay, so let me go find my Rails auth tutorial, because there I have a example of that. There we go. Ruby on Rails. WT off should be towards the bottom. Creating the notes API. There we go. User references. Okay, cool. That's what I need to know. Okay. Actually, technically, there won't be any references on this particular model. It's just the name of an investor. Good. Rails G scaffold investor name string. Good. That works for me. Then I want Rails G scaffold a company. In the company will also have a name, which will be a string. And then we're going to have investments. Rails G scaffold investments. And this will have two fields, one for investor, because it's basically the investments represents the relationship between an investor and investments. That's how we're going to get this many-to-many relationship. So investments, we're going to have a field called investor, which it references. And then we're also going to have a field for company, which it references. Okay. And Rails G scaffold. Let me just make sure there's a references or reference. Yep, references. Okay, so then we hit enter on there. That scaffolds everything. So now we just go to, that should generate a whole bunch of migrations. So if I go to the database folder, here's all our migrations. So let's look at each one, make sure that the fields are correct. Name, good. Companies, and see how it perfectly figured out the plural. Love that. Okay. string name. Good. Let me take a look at this one. References investor, references company. That works for me. Cool. And yeah, I guess that looks pretty good to me. So in that case, we can do a Rails DB migrate and migrate. Cool. So that has been migrated. Now over in app, since I use scaffold, we should have models. So here are my models for company, investment, and investor. Okay, and an investor should have a has many relationship. Has many, and I think it's has many investor. Yeah, let me just go back and take a look at the documentation for that. Has many through Rails. Here you go, has many through. So has many patients through appointments. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm looking for. So has many investors through, let's make sure that's the way it was written. Oh, there's a comma, through appointments. Okay, through investments. Okay, so that way it knows that it has a bunch of investors, and the way it figures out what those investors are, actually this is investor, so it should be has many company through investments. And then let me copy this line over to the investor. Company, I mean. And then this should be have many investors. Investors through companies, and actually that means this should be has many companies through investment. And we noticed that when we did the migration, it picked up on the correct plural for companies, so we're going to use that. And then let me just double check, do I need anything on appointment? And yes, okay, we rate the belongs to. So here we write, oh, and that's already done for us. That's pretty snazzy. Okay, so that should set us up. Let's see if it gives us any advice on the functions that's going to allow us to do. Patients. See, I'm now missing the join roles. Patients, cool. Segment has one through. Although through the through section specifies, Rails will now understand. Okay, so that just kind of cuts through the in-between, which is nice. So models are set. So theoretically, I should be able to generate data now in the Rails console. So let's try that out. So let's see here. Let's try to set up we're going to create a company. So we're going to first, create an investor first. Investor Bob equals investor dot new. And that's going to be uppercase investor. So Bob equals investor dot new. And basically investor is going to have a name. So it should be name Bob. And then we do that. Undefined method many. Call investor connection to establish a connection class. Let's do this. Investor dot create name Bob. Well, let's just do this. Let's p the investor class, see if that all exists just fine. Many. So connection to establish a connection. Okay, so let's try that. Investor.many. Let's see here. Let's try it from the company side. Many, let's see here. We'll say ABC. ABC equals company dot new name equals ABC. Let's see here. That's interesting. So let's take a look. Yep, that's not any copy and paste, right? Okay, so that's what that means. So basically it's asking, apparently it doesn't have a database connection at the moment. So in that case, let's exit. Let's go to the Rails DB console. Okay. And let's just make sure that all the tables got created. So let's do /DT. So there we go, investors, investments, and companies. That all works for me. Okay, so that looks like it's all set up correctly. So yeah, let's use the seed function. Let's go to seed and create some seed data. Okie dokie. And let's see here, seeds. We'll say investor dot create Bob. Investor dot companies, I think it would be, because they have many companies. So then I think I'd be allowed to do a dot create probably. And then we'll say, hey, they have an investment in ABC. And let's see if that works. I'm not 100% sure about this one, because again, when you create all these relationships, it creates all these new ways that you can chain the functions together to make life easier. So I'm assuming that if you're saying investors have many companies through appointments, if I were to do something like this, it'll create the company and then create the appointment entry by virtue of how active record works in other relationships. But let's see here. Let's do Rails DB seed. Okay, yep, there's an error, so let's take a look what it says. Fed for many for investor. Okay, so let's you take that part of the error. So many. Okay, so see here, as many participants. Ah, I see. So we should also have this, I guess. As many class name participant. Game, participant, player, game. So let's take a look at this. Should avert any potential naming errors through, okay, has many participations. And okay, real C, J equals game dot first. Any participants. Okay, so let's make some of those kind of changes. So let's go back to our models. So also we'll just say as many investments. Has many investments. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm typing this wrong, aren't I? Yeah, there should be an underscore there. That is probably what it is. Okay. Gotta stop making videos when I just wake up. Okay, so let's do this again. Let's go back to the Rails console instead. There we go. So let's see here. Let's say investor Bob. We'll say Bob equals investor dot create name Bob. Okay, good. So we have a Bob. Now let's see if I can do this. Investor dot companies dot create name ABCs. No method, undefined method companies. That's what I figured. Let's see here. Investor dot methods. I think it's so I can see all the methods. There we go. Let's take a look what we can see here. Oh, that's a lot. Before define enums table commit premium prefix callbacks company index after initialize. Lots of functions. Thank you, Active Record, for giving us so many functions. But I don't even know where I would look for companies or investments. Looking for it. Are these in alphabetical order? I don't think so. Quoted, listed attributes after callbacks. Successor. Collection. Logger, cache, team. Before add for company. Here we go. Before add for companies. After add for companies. After remove for companies. So there is company stuff. This refers to companies. Okay, so let's go back down to here. Let's create a new company. So we'll say ABC equals company.new or company.create. Name equals ABC. Okay. Okay, and we'll just say investment dot new or investment dot create, and then we'll say company is ABC, and the investor is Bob. Let's see if that works. It looks like it might have worked. Yep, that worked. Okay, so let me see here. So I was able to create a new investment. And then let's see here. If I say that Bob dot investments. Let's see here. Bob dot investment. Oh, I'm saying spelling Bob. Bob dot investments. Bob dot investment. I'll say Bob. Let's say Bob dot methods. Let's see what methods Bob has. Okay. Lots of methods. Let's go towards the top. Save for companies. Save records for companies before. Add for companies. Okay, so here we go. Companies. Companies. Company IDs. Companies. So I want to do that. Okay. So let's try that out. Bob dot companies. Cannot find the association investments in model investor. In model investor. As many through investment. Investor. Let me just go back to the docs. There belongs to through sections. Yeah, so it should be the plural version of it. Okay, but the point is we can add the association, so we know that. Now what I just want to do is see how to bring that up. So let's see here. Companies. Let's go back to that list of methods. Just towards the top. Companies. Company IDs. I have to remove ID change, save the change. Okay, let's try that. Bob.company IDs. Can I find the association investments? We'll go back to my schema. See, was that what it's called? Schema. Okay, here they use singular. Companies, company. Let's try it this way. See if that makes a difference. Okay. Exit. Okay, and then we'll do Rails console. Okay, and then we're going to try to get Bob out of there. So first we'll say Bob equals investor dot find one. So we're finding the first investor, which should be Bob. So let me just p Bob so we can see that Bob is there. Yep, there's Bob. Okay, and what I want to do is do Bob dot companies association investment in model investor through associations not found error. Okay, let's take a look what this error means. Pretty sure my macros aren't configured exactly right, but let's find out why. Okay, so I do need to add the extra has many. So let me go back to this and then add this has many investments. Okay, add that there. And then we're going to go to here. Investments, save. Okay, let's exit the terminal here and then open it back up. Okay, and let's try this again. So first let's get Bob out. And Bob equals investor dot find one. And then we want to see Bob's companies. There we go. And we can see Bob has company one. Okay, so good. Now this is working. Okay, so you can create new companies. So now, so let's say I create another company. So let's see here. Can I do this? Bob dot companies dot create name DEF. Oh, that worked. Yes. Okay, so now if I do bob.companies, and now he has investments in DEF, and he created the record in the other table. That is cool. Okay, that is cool. That is definitely neat. Cool. Okay, so that's the idea there. So basically, you have to have both of these as many relationships, but this will allow you to kind of, it knows to create the company in the other table because you've kind of outlined it, the relationship between these things. So it knows, hey, create a new, give Bob a new company, a new investment. It creates the investment record in the investments table and creates the new company in the company table. And the same thing, I can be like, hey, let's just save ABC. So ABC equals company dot find the first company, which should be ABC. Okay, and then we're going to say ABC dot investors dot create, and we're going to say, hey, ABC has a new investor named Steve. And there we go. We have a new investor named Steve. Okay. Now, if I were to go to investments dot all or investment dot all, okay, I can see, hey, the first one we have investment ID 1, which is investor ID 1, company ID 1. I can see like this whole cool table, and that's going to allow, and this is the table that allows me to do this. Bob.companies, okay, or ABC.investors, okay, and I can see who the investors are in ABC, and I can see who the companies that Bob is invested to. Okay, so we had some, and again, the reason why I like to do these raw, where in the sense where like I don't necessarily do too much prep work before the video, so that way you can see me kind of fumble, is so that way you see me troubleshoot the typical errors you'll probably run into when you try this out for the first time too. Okay, that way, and also you can see how I troubleshoot, think about troubleshooting. It's a method to the madness. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, saw that we got the relationship all set up here. So that's pretty cool. And then we can then use that and then modify all our routes and all that good stuff. So that's how you do a many-to-many relationship in Ruby on Rails. Have a great day and enjoy.